your moderator today. Our guests today are going to be Roland Hunter from IBEW Local 3 or 531. He's the apprenticeship coordinator. And then later on in the program, we're going to also be talking to the business manager. His name is Jim Clarida. He's going to talk to us about a big job opportunity that's coming up for Local 531, where they're in need of dozens and dozens of electricians. So let me just kind of give you a brief introduction into myself. Again, my name is Kevin Comerford. I am the Director of Professional Development at the Construction Advancement Foundation of Northwest Indiana. We're a union contractor trade association. We have over 500 local contractors that are members of our organization. One of the big aspects of my job is workforce development. Many of you know that we do those hands-on skilled trades days every year, and due to the pandemic, we're not able to do it this year. So as a replacement for that, that's how this series came to be. So just real quick before I start the interview with Roland, I just want to thank IBEW Local 531 for participating in this event. I also want to thank the Center of Workforce Innovations for all their help in getting all the schools involved in this, and also the Northwest Indiana Workforce Board. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screen real quick. And this is all the information for the electricians. So I'll just kind of keep that up while I'm going through the interview process with Roland. But here's all the contact information for the Apprenticeship Training Center, along with their website URL, and my information's on there as well. So anyway, Roland, can you hear us?
I can hear you just fine.
Good. So Roland, as I mentioned, is the apprenticeship coordinator for Local 531, the Electricians. They're out of LaPorte, Indiana. So Roland, I just kind of want to just basically kind of dive right into it. I think a lot of people don't really understand everything that an electrician does. I think most people probably think, they put in outlets and light fixtures. But I mean, that just scratches the surface of what you do. Can you talk a little bit about, some of the work that your trade does, being an electrician?
Well, I guess the textbook description of what an electrician does is we install, program, repair all electrical and electronic equipment and installations. And that's what we do as electricians, which covers low voltage, high voltage, medium voltage, regular power and lighting, fiber, motor control, fire alarm, LED lighting, anything that's electrical is what we do as electricians. Any of those systems we install.
So let's kind of talk a little bit about the apprenticeship program. So you, like many of the other trades, have a well-defined training system that individuals go through to learn how to become an electrician. Can you talk a little bit about how that program is designed and structured?
Well, actually, what we're set up to do is we offer a career opportunity for all men and women in the electrical industry. And so that's really where our start is. And so we offer three actually classifications to our industry. That's a journeyman inside wireman's program, a residential wireman's program, and telecommunications installer technician program.
So if somebody gets accepted into one of these programs, what can they expect as far as like their curriculum starting on day one?
Well, apprenticeship is on-the-job training and classroom instruction. So what we offer is over 200 hours a year in the classroom and between 1,500 and 1,800 hours of actual on-the-job training. And that's on our jobs, whether it be commercial, industrial, whether it be residential, single-family dwellings, or multi-family dwellings. So we offer training in all of those aspects of our industry. So once a person has actually applied for the apprenticeship program, and once they are accepted into the program, we assign them to an employer.
So once they start working for the employer, they're going to school as well during that time?
Yes, they are. Our school, we have actually evening classes Some programs have different way that they set theirs up, but ours is actually evenings. It's one night a week, 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And you're going to get between 200 hours a year actually in the classroom.
So starting off, once you start that schooling, I mean, what can an apprentice expect? I mean, what are you learning? You start off with like basic circuitry, or do you kind of go over like math skills I mean, how does it begin?
Well, they're set up as far as the years in the apprenticeship. So as a first year apprentice, you're learning basic electricity, you're learning tools, you're learning material, you're learning safety, you're learning basic DC theory, things like that. And you actually graduate from that point to other aspects of our trade. So when you advance through from your first year, you go to second year, from second year to third year, and you actually, everything you learn in the first year, it gets built on the following years going forward.
And then as you go through the program and you hit those benchmarks of the 200 hours in class instruction and those on the job training hours, do you get pay increases as you go through the program?
You do. As I said before, the apprenticeship is on the job training as well. So you get periodic wage advances throughout your apprenticeship. So most apprentices start at all apprentices work at a percentage of journeyman's wage. And so they start at that percentage, and our program, you actually get wage increases every 6 months.
Okay, so twice during the first year. So during the 5-year apprenticeship, basically five payment increases. I mean, excuse me, 10 increases.
You get 10 throughout for our inside wirements program, yes.
Okay. And then once you finish, that is considered, you complete the program, now you're considered a journey person, is that correct?
For our inside wirements program, that's a 5-year program. So after your 5 years, you actually graduate to journeyman inside wireman status. For our residential program, which is a different classification, after 3 years, you graduate to residential wireman status.
Okay. And this is just for our audience. If you have any questions, and I forgot to mention this at the beginning, just put them in the chat box feature, and I will monitor those chat questions throughout the morning and ask those questions of our guests. So I want to switch directions a little bit and talk about your application period. Do you take applications at a certain time, or do you take applications daily? You know, how does your application process work?
Well, we accept applications Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4 year round. Now, we do have a process or a time of the year where we actually interview and we select our class, which is in the spring, but we do accept applications year round.
Okay, and so how would somebody find out more information, or how would they get their hands on the application? Do they have to come down to the training center, or is there somewhere they can get it online?
Well, you can actually view our application and print it out and fill it out yourself if you go on the local 531's website and click on the apprenticeship link.
Okay,
So you can see all the information you would need there, but you would have to come in person to actually submit the application. We kind of prefer that, not having a person just fill out an application online and submit it to us. We'd rather you come in person and do that, because you get an idea of where the training center is. You may have some other questions. We've got some other information we can hand out to you during that process. So we would prefer the person come in to submit the application, but you can go on the website and print the application out and fill it out.
So I'm going to go to your website. The way I kind of go there is, you know, I go through the We Build Northwest Indiana website. I know you could go directly there, but just kind of an easy way for everybody in the audience who's watching. If you go to the trade careers and then click on electricians, there's links over here to the right, and this has all the general information about the apprenticeship program. But what's unique in Northwest Indiana is there's 2 apprenticeship opportunities. There's the local 697 training center, which is located in Maryville, and then the LaPorte one, which is who we're talking with Roland. He's with the LaPorte County Electrical Training Center. So if you click on this link right here, IBW local 531/apprentice, should take you right to the apprenticeship link. Can you see that, Roland?
I do see it.
So if somebody wants to find the application, they'll just kind of go up here under this. Oh, I see, probably how to apply, and then hit this application, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
You'd have to download the PDF.
Download the application. So they would just fill this out and they would have to bring it directly into your training center. Is that correct?
That's correct, because also part of the application process is some of the information we will need is your birth certificate. We'll need to make a copy of your driver's license. You must have at least accepted or received a C in Algebra 1 or better. You must have a valid driver's license, and then there's an application fee. So you would need to come in and do that anyway.
All right.
I will say this though, even though we are considered the LaPorte IBEW, we actually cover 5 counties. So we cover Porter, LaPorte, Stark, Pulaski, and Jasper counties. So even though our training center is in LaPorte County, and actually the physical address is in Michigan City, and our union hall is in LaPorte, we cover 5 counties in northern Indiana.
So while somebody's in high school, is there anything that they could do to prepare for a career as an electrician? Are there things that you as the apprenticeship coordinator or others who do the interviews that what do they look for in an individual who's looking to be an apprentice?
Well, one of the things we look at, and it's not necessarily a qualification, is they do look at a work history. They give some extra consideration for young men and women who are actually in the building trades or attached to some sort of career center. They seem to think that those are more of a building block for the apprenticeship programs or for careers in construction, whether it's the electricians or any of the other trades. So those are some of the things we look at. A decent math background. As I said before, the main qualification is Algebra 1.
How about some of those soft skills? Are there any like soft skills that you work? I know a lot of high schools are offering like work ethic certificates and things of that sort. Would that factor into whether somebody may get accepted to an apprenticeship program or not?
It does, especially when that young man or woman comes for their oral interview, because the interviewers are looking at everything about that person on the application, whether they've worked before, whether they like to do, some things that how they handle certain situations. So they do look at the different interests that those persons would be involved in, whether it's sports or whether it's any extracurricular activities at their school. So those are really, they really do look at those.
Now, how about attitude? How important is attitude? When screening applicants, I know we've talked to other apprenticeship coordinators, and I think a lot of them have expressed the notion that attitude is maybe one of the most important aspects of being successful in the apprenticeship program. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, attitude is a small word, but it goes a long way toward, because part of working in our industry, you're going to be working along with another person or in a group setting. And so the attitude actually kind of shapes the tone of how work is going to get done and things like that. And so whether that person is going to be trainable as well. So as an apprentice coming in, they have to have an attitude of being open to being trained.
So you had mentioned, algebra, and I know, math kind of scares a lot of people from applying the trades. Can you talk a little bit about, not only algebra, but maybe some of the other things that an applicant might see on your general aptitude test when applying for the electricians?
Well, one of the importance of math is it's a thinking tool. And so us as electricians, we consider ourselves a thinking person's trade. So math kind of shows you how to think and reason. So as electricians, part of what we do is we have to be able to think and reason and think on our feet and think quickly, things like that. And so we have to be able to reason and figure things out, especially when we get into troubleshooting, because math is a systematic way of finding a solution to a problem. And so when we're troubleshooting an issue or we're trying to figure out what's wrong or how to make something work, there's a systematic way to do that. And that's the aspect that math is important for us.
So let's kind of talk a little bit about the selection process now. So once an applicant meets all the general minimum qualifications, they turn in their application along with all the required documents. What comes next? Are they going to get a call from you? stating how they did on their aptitude test and whether they're eligible for an interview, or, how do you get to the interview phase once you apply?
Well, once that person has met the requirements for apprenticeship and they met the requirements to take our aptitude test, we do give them some study information. And so when they take the aptitude test and they receive a qualifying score, which for us is 4 or better, then they move on to the oral interview process. And during each one of those processes, we're actually in contact with that person to let them know where they are in it. So once they've received a qualifying score, they will be interviewed by the apprenticeship committee. Now, our apprenticeship committee is comprised of 6 people, 3 representing labor, it's the IBEW, 3 representing employers, that's the NECA side. And those 6 individuals are actually interviewing that person for this trade, for this apprenticeship program.
So is there a good way for somebody who, made it to that interview process to prepare for the interview? Are there anything that they should research or what kind of expectations should an apprentice or should somebody who's applying into the apprenticeship, what kind of research should they do before going into that interview?
Well, I think one of the main questions they need to know is what an electrician does. My understanding is when they come into the interview process, one of the first questions they're asked is, why do you want to do this? And if they stumble over that question, a lot of times the interview doesn't go very well after that, because they do need to have an idea of why they want to be an electrician.
Yeah, so the answer is because I want to make money is probably not the right answer.
Well, it's a good answer, but that's probably not the answer they should give right off the bat. And we do get a lot of different responses to that question. They want to help build America. They want to do a lot of different things like that. But the main objective is to learn this trade, learn this craft, because it is one of the more important careers in the electrical industry.
Now, how about appearance? How should an individual dress, prior to coming to the interview? I know it's a construction job, but I think a lot of people don't really understand that a lot of the time you have interactions with the customer, so you do have to look presentable. Can you talk a little bit about, maybe a dress attire that an applicant should wear while coming into the interview?
Well, some of the applicants do ask that question before they get there, and really it's kind of a business casual, because you do need to keep in mind that 3 of the interviewers are actually employers. So they're looking at that person as someone that may work for that company, but you're also representing this industry. So really no shorts, no short sleeve shirts, things like that. So basically pants and button down shirt is what I actually recommend.
Okay.
For men and women, actually.
And since from day one, they're going to be assigned, working for a contractor, provided that there's work out there. What are some of the expectations that the contractors have of these individuals who get accepted into the apprenticeship program? Are there any, what are the contractors looking for in an individual?
Well, the contractors, as well as the other members of the local, are looking for a person that's going to be productive. When you get accepted into the program, they're not expecting you to know a whole lot, but what they are expecting you to be is productive, to pick things up, to be polite, to pay attention, things like that. We'll teach you the industry. We'll teach you how to be an electrician, but you need to come in with at least an open mind and a good attitude.
Well, Roland, I appreciate all that information. That's about all the questions I have for you at the moment. I'm going to go ahead and now switch directions and talk to your business manager. His name is Jim Clarida. Jim is a longtime 531 member. We had a conversation about 2 weeks ago where he was talking about a huge project that's going up just south of us in Jasper. I think it was close to 5,000 acres. It's a 700 megawatt solar farm. So Jim, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So can you talk a little bit about about that particular project, and sounds like you guys are going to be doing a lot of hiring here. I guess let's start from the basics. Tell us a little bit about the project, and then we'll kind of go into some of the hiring requirements.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, and I appreciate you having me on today. Yeah, so like Kevin said, it's a 700 megawatt solar farm. A general rule of thumb is it takes about 7 acres for 1 megawatt. So that does put this at around 5,000 acres, which is roughly 10 square miles. And it is down in Jasper County. It's gonna be right around the NIPSCO Gen Station, if you're familiar with that area down there. It's a 2.5-year project. It'll take about 2.5 years from start to end to complete something of that size. And it's gonna consist of 2.4 million solar panels. So if you can try to imagine what that's going to look like from the sky, it's going to be quite impressive. The IBEW is going to be doing all the installation for that project. So as you can imagine, a job of that size, we're going to need a large number of people to go down there and work on that. And along with the skilled tradesmen of IBEW 531, both journeymen and apprentices, we have an unprecedented opportunity to increase our membership through some helpers that we're going to need. Helpers that are going to be assisting the journeymen and the apprentices and stuff like that on the job, moving the solar panels around, hooking them up, doing the racking, things like that. So we do have a large opportunity for men and women who are looking to possibly get into an apprenticeship or get into the electrical industry, or if they're into the renewable industry, to go down there and get some hands-on as a helper, like I said, and assist the journeymen and the apprentices that are going to be on that project.
So it sounds like you're going to do a huge hiring to meet the demand that this project's going to require. How would somebody apply? Would they just apply for the regular apprenticeship program and then you would select them from there? Or is there a different application link?
So it is different. So for these helpers, we're going to be running that through the union hall here. It's not going to be going through the apprenticeship because, the helpers will not be the apprentices, although it would be a great pathway into the apprenticeship. But on the website that you've got there, if you look, you could see you got job opportunities. Yep. And then it's Dungebridge. That's the name of the project. If you go
this
there,
first link under job opportunities right here.
Yep. That one right there. It gives all the information that we're looking for. And then you can even download and fill out the application and submit that electronically. We've had a lot of applicants already do it that way. And I do want to stress that while these are not apprenticeship positions, anyone who's applying for the apprenticeship already, I would stress to go ahead and apply for this as well, because if they don't make it into our apprenticeship, say this year, there's still a job opportunity and a membership opportunity with the IBEW to work on this project. And this will give us a good look at someone working on that project and a good opportunity for them to show us what they can do and then possibly increase their chances of being selected the following year. And because they would become IBEW members, their pay and benefits are right in line with what apprentices are going to make anyway. So if they ever were slotted into the apprenticeship, it's a seamless transition in terms of those pay and benefits and the things that come along with being a member of IBEW 531. So.
Okay, I just pulled up this application. So yeah, it looks like it's a little bit different than the regular apprenticeship program application.
Correct.
So print this or fill this out, print it, and then email it to this email address down at the bottom in the footer here.
Yep, info@ibwlocal531.org. That'll come directly here to our office where, we're compiling the applications. This project's going to start March, April, obviously, depending on our Northwest Indiana weather here. And it's going to ramp up pretty quick, and it's going to be a consistent hiring process, right? So even if we don't hire someone right away in March or April, it doesn't mean there won't be an opportunity come June, July, or especially with the high school students, they're not graduating till probably June anyway. So, there's going to be opportunities even past this spring, just because, like I said before, the project is 2.5 years long. So.
Well, it sounds like a great resume builder. So I can only imagine if somebody actually applies to this and gets in as a solar helper, they show up every day, they work hard, they make a name for themselves on that job site during that opportunity. The contractor out there is really going to take notice of them. And that could be kind of an easy way to get into the apprenticeship program. Just because you're already out there working in the industry and you're proving yourself on the job. So
Absolutely. It's the best pre-apprenticeship we could probably offer because like you said, it gets them on an IBEW job. We get to see if they can show up to work every day. We get to see if their attitude's right, if they're trainable. We get a good look and see if they really do belong in this trade, and it would make that transition to be an apprentice that much easier than someone that we don't know walking in off the street.
Can you, are you aware of what the starting wage is going to be yet? Just for the helper position?
Yeah, we're looking at mirroring the exact same as the apprenticeship. So the same thing, a first year apprentice starting on day one, whatever he would make and pay and benefits, it's going to be the same for these guys. In the hopes that a lot of these guys do slide over to the apprenticeship. That way, like I said before, it'd be a nice, easy transition from one to the other in terms of healthcare, retirement benefits, death benefits, the wages. It'll just, go from one to the other seamlessly.
Well, thanks for that information. Is there anything else you want to say about the project, or do you think we covered it all?
I think we covered it all. It's an exciting project. Like I said, I would encourage anyone who's looking to get into our trade to still apply for this. It doesn't hurt to have, your application in both spots. And we're just excited to get this project going and looking forward to working on it.
Well, thanks, Jim. Thanks for that information. Thanks for walking us through the website as well. It kind of sparked a couple thoughts in my head, and I kind of want to maybe turn it back to Roland real quick. I see some of these general minimum qualifications, being able to lift over 50 pounds. I kind of want to get in the real aspects of an apprenticeship program. This is, a lot of the work is physical. Can you talk about that aspect a little bit when it comes to working in a trade? I think a lot of people don't realize that, there is a lot of, climbing up and down ladders and bending and crouching in tight spaces and, working at heights. Maybe, it might not be for everyone. Can you talk a little bit about that, Roland?
Well, actually, when you're looking at some of these requirements on this page, those are some of the same requirements that you would need as an apprentice. And so our work is physical. It's also mental, but it is physical. And so a lot of times first year apprentices are required to be able to lift a certain weight or be able to be on their knees or crawling around or being on a ladder. And so a lot of times that's not really made apparent until they actually get on the job. So one of the reasons as an apprentice, the first 2,000 hours is a probationary period because construction isn't for everybody. A lot of times when you really look and see what we do, or you think you know what we do, and you really don't know until you actually get on a job and you pair it with another person. So it really is a lot of physical aspects to what we do, and you have to be able to do that.
Another thing I see on this is reliable transportation. I got to stress to the audience out there that, you have to go where the work's at. And, it's not like you can take the bus to the same place every day, because one day you might be working, at NIPSCO in Michigan City, and another day you might be working down.
You muted yourself, Kevin.
So like I was saying, one day you might be working in, down in the solar field, next day in Michigan City, maybe one day in South Bend. You have to be able to get to the jobs where they're located. So that's why reliable transportation is key. And I think a part of that is, a valid driver's license as well. Do you check those credentials and make sure that the apprentices have valid transportation and a valid driver's license and accepted into the program?
You're muted, Roland.
The question we get asked a lot is, why is a driver's license important? Well, one of the reasons is we cover such a huge jurisdiction. So you may be working, like you said, in Porter County, or you may live in Porter County and you're working in Stark County, or you live in Stark County and you're working in LaPorte County. So you really do need to have reliable transportation. And since we don't have travel time, so You have to be at work at 7 o'clock, regardless of where the project is. And so you have to have reliable transportation. One of the things that's coming up a lot is a lot of our customers or employers' customers are requiring a valid driver's license or even a decent background. So they'll do a background check. So that's very important now in these times where backgrounds are checked and driver's licenses are checked and things like that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but sometimes when you report into the job in the morning, they might give you a truck to take some equipment out to the job site. So you might be driving in an employer's vehicle. So yeah, the importance of maintaining that valid driver's license cannot be understated. So, and then I also see here must pass a drug test. Talk a little bit about your drug testing program and why being drug free on a job site is so important in the construction industry.
Well, it's important from a safety aspect, but it's also important because most of the customers require a person to be drug free. But we're all kind of involved with, it's called the BCRC in Northwest Indiana. And one of the aspects that we talk to apprentices about when they start is it's not just about being drug free and alcohol responsible, it's about physical and mental health. So we want to make sure that the person is capable of working on a job safely, have a right mind and things like that. So it's important to be drug free. As I said before, a lot of the customers require that. If you're going to work on their property, especially in the heavy industry part of our jurisdiction, you have to be drug free.
Yeah, and that goes for all the trades. I think they're all affiliated with the BCRC, and they all do some sort of randomized drug testing, and that's because construction can be dangerous, and especially when you got people who are not in the right mindset on the job site, it could even be deadly. So I mean that's why the importance of being drug free in the construction industry is of the utmost importance. And I think as you go through the program, not only while you're an apprentice, but as you're a journey person too, during that whole time, you're going to be randomly drug tested. So, and then there was one other thing I wanted to touch base with you on, and I don't think we've really talked about it, but historically, it seems like the construction trades have been predominantly dominated by males, but I see a lot of women electricians too, and I don't really think that people in high school, especially women, understand that there's career opportunities in the construction trades for them. I kind of compare it to like nursing, where nursing kind of tends to lean more female than male, but construction industry tends to lean more male than female. But you guys are looking to improve that diversity in the construction industry, and you're looking to hire women. You talk a little bit about women in the construction industry?
Well, I think there was always a perception there that the work was hard and heavy and too hard and heavy for women. And I think that has changed, and especially with our telecommunications program now, because that's starting to get a lot more popular among more people, because most of our new technology that's coming out right now, a lot of the jobs are coming through that now. So it's a lot of low voltage. It's not as physical, even though you're still working in a physical environment. That has appealed more to women looking to get into the trades, along with the money and the other opportunities that come along with that.
Well, you brought up another interesting point that, we have mostly been talking about the inside wire person job, which is, your standard electrician that's working on transformers and heavy industry and commercial settings. But this telecommunications is, like you said, more low voltage. So what kind of work would if you're specializing in that area of the electricians, what kind of work would you be doing when you talk about low voltage? What exactly does that mean?
Well, those would be more like fiber optics, card access, video and surveillance systems, phone systems, fiber optics, fire alarms, security systems. So those are all the things that actually, when you look at TV and things like that, you're starting to see more and more of those types of systems. And us as electricians, those are the systems we actually install and program and repair. So that field has gotten a lot more popular now with women as well as men.
So that's a lot of your networking, you know, running Cat6 cable, running.
That's all of that, correct.
Yeah, okay.
And that is our work.
Well, let me see if there's any questions. I don't see any more questions from the participants. You know, one other quick question that I often get, and you may have addressed it. I don't know if you did or not. It says you have to be 18 before you could apply, but I know a lot of high school kids or students that are graduating, you know, maybe 17. Can you apply when you're 17 into the Electricians Apprenticeship Program?
We do allow you to apply. We actually allow high school seniors to apply while they're still in school. And one of the reasons for that is because if they're actually interested in this trade, we don't want them to have to wait until they graduate, because by that time we've already selected our class. So we do allow high school seniors to apply for your apprenticeship program. You can get accepted while you're still in high school, but you'll have to wait until you graduate because of the on-the-job training component, which is full-time employment.
Well, Roland, thanks for that information. And Jim, thanks for sharing the information about the solar helper. I got a closing screen up on the page right now. It talks about where to go for more application information. So please write this down. I'll leave it on the screen. There's also a phone number for you to call. As always, there's the We Build Northwest Indiana link, which could give you, which links to the IBEW website. And then the Center of Workforce Innovation also has adult learning centers. So for those of you in the audience who need to maybe brush up on some of your math skills, you can contact the CWI Adult Learning Centers. Here's a website for them and also a phone number. Again, I want to thank my guests. Real quick, one other share I want to do is, if we go back to the website, I think on the We Build Northwest Indiana website, we also put a direct link to that solar project as well. So if you click on that direct link, it'll take you right to the page of the employment opportunities for that Indiana. So thanks again for joining us. Appreciate all the information.
Thank you for having us.
All right, thank you.